Welcome to Sense of Style. I'm Stuart. Top new releases of 2024 Part 2. On Tuesday, it's kind of a negative list. I talked about a lot of fragrance releases that didn't do super well. Today is a much better day. There are a lot of better, higher quality fragrances. I mean, they're not going to be cheap, but at least these are ones that you might consider buying. Again, this is a collated list of reviews online. These are not my personal opinions. I watch a lot of fragrance YouTube and I read a ton of fragrance articles. It's a combination of that. So I'm bringing together, the consensus, general consensus as to what fragrances are successes and what are failures. So I talked about 9 fragrances on Tuesday. I'm going to be going over another 9 today. Let's get to it. Fragrances number 1 and 2 are both from Creed's Amber Universe. They haven't released the name of the third fragrance yet, but the first two, Centaurus and Delphinus, they've released photos, they've released note breakdowns, and there are sightings of fragrance bottles in a few places, like Nordstrom's had a couple bottles. There are definitely testers out there, so people are really getting their noses on this one. And for these two fragrances, I'm going to be talking about 4 different reviewers: Simply Put Scents, Fragrance Dude, Dedrick Hicks Jr., and I'm also going to be including Eddie Bulliqi, one of the top writers at Fragrantica. I'm going to be going over the feelings about these two fragrances. And the good news is, really good news, is that all 4 reviewers like both fragrances. Centaurus is one that when I first looked at, I thought, okay, yeah, it's like Parfum de Marly. I don't like the creativity. 3 of the 4 reviewers either said, yeah, it's not original, or noticed that there were some very familiar accords, very familiar scent to them. So it isn't super creative, but when it comes to fragrances like this, execution matters, and from all accounts, the execution, they really pulled this one off. This is going to be a very popular sweet tobacco fragrance. It's got cinnamon, it's got a fruity accord, it's got some tobacco and some sweetness. It's soft. According to Simply Put Scents, and he adores this fragrance, he said, we're talking, the next day kind of noticing it, like really, really strong performance. A lot of these reviews, though, are generally going to be first impressions, so we don't get a good idea as to the performance, but according to that reviewer, this one is a beast. Now, when it comes to Delphinus, everybody says it's different. And it's also not necessarily just unisex. That was the one thing that worried me in particular. I like the look of the note breakdown. It's basically iris, incense, and vanilla. I like the look of it, but I didn't like the look of the bottle. The bottle looked feminine to me. Apparently, it is not a unisex fragrance. This is a fragrance that probably leans slightly masculine. When you have that smoky accord, you're usually going to get that in more masculine fragrances. 2 of the reviewers noticed the smoky accord right away without even seeing the note breakdown. So yeah, it is there. It is evident. It's more creative. Eddie Bulliqi, who doesn't like anything, really liked Delphinus. That's a really good sign. There haven't really been any major reviews talking about performance, so we're not really sure of it yet, but it is a Creed, so I can't imagine it being a poor performer. Fragrance number 3 is Chanel Allure Homme Sport Superleggera. There are tons of reviews on Superleggera out there now. I have not seen a bad review of it yet. I really haven't, but it's a little bit more complex because it is $170 for a fresh fragrance, which is extremely pricey. And knowing Chanel's business habits, this is not going to be coming to a discounter anytime soon. And that may end up being the biggest problem with this one. But everybody seems to pick up a grapefruit. It seems to be a citrus-heavy fragrance for the most part. It is not actually super light. That direct translation of Superleggera is super light. That's an Italian word, means light. So yeah, it is not necessarily a light fragrance. It seems to fall somewhere between, well, it fits into the Allure Homme Sport line. It's not quite as sweet as Eau Extreme, but you wouldn't expect that. Grapefruit is the note that people pick up, and it's got good performance. People do like it, but yeah, I mean, $170 for a freshie. I can't see this one being a massive seller. I do know that if Chanel put out a brand new fragrance line and it got these kind of reviews, People would find ways to spend $300 to get their hands on it. I don't know if that's going to happen with Superleggera. Fragrance number 4 is Club de Nuit Precieux 1 from Armaf. And this is a fragrance that when I first saw it, I was like, I thought it was a mixture between Aventus Absolute and Precieux by Parfum. And I don't like twists. I'm not interested in twists, so I ignored it. And then I have a TikTok account. I just throw all my shorts on there. I don't even pay attention to it. And then I check one day, and all of a sudden I'm like closing in on 20,000 views for it. I'm like, okay, time for me to pay attention. I did pay attention, and it looks like it isn't a Precieux twist after all. A really good high quality clone of Aventus Absolute. And I say high quality because the presentation apparently has been phenomenal. The performance is next level because it's an extrait de parfum. It's called Precieux 1. So I'm assuming this is going to be an introductory fragrance in a new line of high quality Armaf fragrances. The prices for this one are higher. So 55 milliliters, $54 at the discounters. That is more than you would pay for a typical Armaf. But yeah, everyone really likes this one, and yeah, looks good. Fragrance number 5 is Viktor and Rolf's Spicebomb Dark Leather. And this one's interesting because the scent people like. It's most often compared to either Man in Black from Bulliqi or the original Spicebomb. Thought to be a little bit better than the original Spicebomb, but that makes sense because both Spicebomb and Man in Black are often compared to one another. So that's basically where they're going with the scent. The problem with Spicebomb Dark Leather seems to be the fact that I've heard 2 major reviewers. Mehdi Scent, he knows his stuff. He talks about it being soft projection. Now, for a Viktor and Rolf fragrance to get soft projection used as a description, that's not great. You know, Viktor and Rolf are like bombs, like very, very strong. That's why they're in hand grenade form, you know, the bottles, right? So, yeah, soft projection, 6 hours seems to be the limit. So it's not like they have, you know, a crazy longevity either. But the scent is nice. People do like them. And, you know, it's not like it's terrible projection. It's just not as strong as you come to expect. Fragrance number 6 is Boss's Scent Elixir. This seems to be the best elixir of 2024. There have been a couple of elixir bombs this year. This is not one of them. In terms of performance, in terms of Fragrantica rating, and in terms of the scent, based on all reviews, this is their best release in the scent line. That's what an elixir is supposed to be, and it looks like Boss really pulled it off. The note breakdown is a little misleading. It is pimento, lavender, and a woody note in the base, but the thing is they're leaving out the fact that this is a lot sweeter. You know, I don't know why Boss do that, but yeah, it is sweeter than it might sound initially, but yeah, performance is good. Everything else is about it is really nice. Black Lacquer by Tom Ford really intrigued me. It has ink, peony, which is like the most feminine floral note you can get, and vinyl. So I was just like, and yet it's a woody fragrance. So it's like, wow, this sounds interesting. Now, based on all results, very pleasant fragrance. The peony note, the feminine note, doesn't really play, you know, a big part in the actual fragrance itself. The vinyl and the ink, it kind of comes off as like a lacquered wood kind of feel. So different, but not as different as I was expecting. But it definitely sounds interesting. The performance is very solid. It seems to be popular. I don't know if this is going to be a massive one, but it is a little bit different. And yeah, they seem to have pulled this one off too. Fragrance number 8 is Elvers or Lovers. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, from Louis Vuitton. It seems to be really popular. People really like it. It's super strong. You would expect that from Louis Vuitton. It's also super expensive. You would expect that also. The only thing about Lovers is it's like a warm, spicy, woody scent, right? The weird thing that I find is that it's compared most often in reviews to either Santal 33 or Gris Charnel from BDK Parfum, which to me are 2 very different scents. So I don't know where it falls. I would suspect, based on the note breakdown, a little bit of green, it probably falls more in the Santal 33 thing, but That's just me. That's speculation, but it is popular and it is strong. And finally, we have Asad Zanzibar. This has been around for a long time. It's a gourmandy tropical fragrance. Lattafa is going hardcore into the gourmandy thing. And yeah, it was hyped for a while, very short while. It's come right back down to earth. I think it's not a must buy or anything. It's just an interesting twist on a tropical fragrance, a middling kind of thing. But I had to talk about it because, yeah, it was hyped a lot for a while. Anyway, yeah, this is a better day to talk about fragrances certainly than on Tuesday. So yeah, things are not looking so bad as long as you got a lot of money. Anyway, thanks for watching.